First up is the NASCAR playoffs. For anybody that does not know, in the year of my birth, 2004, NASCAR introduced the chase for the championship, to the dismay of many fans. In this original format, the top 10 drivers in points would be reset to net zero before the last 10 races of the season. Then, whoever had the most points by the end of those 10 races would be crowned the NASCAR champion. This format would last from 2004 to 2006. Then, in 2007, NASCAR decided to add 2 more spots into the chase, so that way more big names could have a shot at the championship. Once again in 2011, NASCAR decided to revamp their championship format, now saving the 11th and 12th spots in the chase for whoever had the most wins in the 11th to 20th places in the regular season standings. Finally, in 2014, we got what would be the first iteration of the NASCAR playoffs. Basically, this format is the same as we have today, just without the stage and the playoff points, which would be introduced in 2017. Champions under this format are less than ideal, which has caused many fans to cry out for NASCAR to change the format once again. After the way the 2024 season ended, fans rushed to social media to share their ideas on how to fix the NASCAR playoffs. While all of these formats were definitely fixing the legitimacy problems that this current format has, they neglected to address the other, arguably more important problem the current format has. It's too fucking complicated. The fact that you either already need to be in the sport or have a college degree to be able to figure out how NASCAR crowns its champions is kind of a massive problem. The solution to this is simple. Just take out the NASCAR playoffs. To clarify, I do mean this in 2 different ways. The first one is the obvious, go back to a full season points format, like every other fucking motorsports. The other way is to literally take out the playoffs, as in shorten the schedule. Ideally, the schedule should be shortened to end on Labor Day weekend with the Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway. This would reduce the Cup Series season to around 28 to 29 races if you count the Clash and make the All-Star race a points race. Now, I understand that NASCAR's current TV deal has them locked at 36 races plus the Clash and the All-Star race until 2031, so this change cannot be made right now unless Fox Prime, TNT, and NBC agree to shorten the schedule. However, 2032 is wide fucking open, and until 2032, NASCAR can just implement the playoff points to carry through the championship finale. This way, the one-race championship finale is not completely a crapshoot. However, Joey Logano can still win the championship in 2024. Next up, we have race length. And a quick disclaimer before we get into it here, the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, the Brickyard 400, and the Southern 500 are going to be excluded from this conversation. So everything that is going to be said in the next segment here does not apply to these 4 races. Everybody got that? Okay, let's move on. Race lengths are not really that big of an issue. However, with the unfortunate rise of F1 in the United States, it has some NASCAR fans wondering, do Cup races actually have to be as long as they are? At first, I was on the side of yes, due to the fact that NASCAR Cup races are supposed to show which drivers and teams can endure the longest. However, in more recent years, I figured out through the power of math that shortening Cup races to 250 to 300 mile races, you're actually not losing that many laps. For instance, on screen right now, I should have my proposed race length. As you can see, 1.5 mile tracks would only be losing 67 laps, which in the grand scheme of a Cup race is not actually that much. Now, the one type of track you don't see on your screen are road courses, and that is because road courses should not have their distance measured in laps. Instead, road courses should always be timed races because of the fact that you do not know how many laps you're going to do in the allotted time frame. which in this case is 2 hours and 40 minutes. Currently, a crew chief can plan out exactly when they would need to pit and how many stops are needed. With time races, however, a crew chief would not know how many laps are going to be run in the allotted 2 hour and 40 minute window, due to variables like caution, weather, and tire falloff. All of these could slow down the pace of the race and open the window for new and creative strategies that could not be implemented otherwise. Xfinity and truck races would also get this same treatment. Xfinity oval races would get shortened to a half a current cup length, and road courses for them would be 2 hours long. Truck oval races would get shortened to a half of a shortened cup race, and their road course races would go for an hour 40 minutes. Overall, shortening NASCAR races might lure some of that F1 crowd away from their fancy parades and over to something a little more appealing. Second to last on this list, we have stage cautions. Now this topic most NASCAR fans don't really care about. Explaining a little deeper, most NASCAR fans would be happy if stage cautions go away, but the fact that they are still here does not drive them crazy like the NASCAR playoffs. For me, I would get rid of the stage cautions completely for 2 reasons. One, in the hypothetical scenario that NASCAR does shorten its races, taking out the stage cautions would help. Reason 2, looking more at present NASCAR, I really do not think that most races today need those automatic brakes. Most NASCAR races today have between 8 and 10 cautions without the stage cautions. While yes, some races might get a little dry without them, that's another reason to shorten the race lengths. By the time the race starts to become spread out and quote-unquote boring, the race would be over. Long story short, stage cautions are another unnecessary gimmick that for some reason NASCAR insists on keeping.
Finally now, we have the next-gen car.
Now, to be clear, I do not believe that anything is wrong with the actual car itself. The problems start coming in when you start to throw in the gimmicks and the spec parts and the constant wrecking. All of NASCAR's gimmicks that they insist on keeping are really causing this car to appear worse than it actually is. The best analogy that I can come up with to describe what I'm talking about is like trying to cut cheese with a whisk. Obviously, the whisk is not going to cut the cheese because the whisk was not designed to cut cheese. Or anything for that matter. This is the same thing with this car. The next-gen car was designed to be a race car. So, when you put it in a series that thinks good racing is let's see how many cars we can fucking wreck in a 4-hour time span, obviously it's not going to do that good. However, if NASCAR can come to trust itself and let the gimmicks go, then the next-gen car is going to be looking a whole lot better. Now, that is not to say that this car is perfect, because no, it is not. For instance, an improvement to the next-gen car could be letting the manufacturers get to create their own next-gen cars. Give the manufacturers certain specifications that they need to abide by, and then set them free to design their next-gen car. In doing this, more passing on the racetrack should occur due to the fact that one manufacturer's car should be very different from another manufacturer's car. Overall, the next-gen car is a good car. NASCAR just needs to let it be itself. And that last sentence really sums up this whole video. NASCAR needs to stop trying to cater to a fan base that does not have any interest in what it's selling. Fans and outsiders alike can see through these shallow attempts for viewership, and most of the gimmicks are actually driving people further away. NASCAR did not get as popular as it did in the late 90s, early 2000s by gimmicking its way there. NASCAR was unapologetically NASCAR, and people loved them for it. I just hope, and hopefully the rest of us also hope, NASCAR realizes this before the stupid European parades takes all of its fans.